You putting first your son, your father, or your husband?
My son. I'm putting my son first. My father, then my husband.
My son,
And then who?
and then my daddy, and then my husband.
My son,
And then who?
my father, then my husband.
Type shit. Why the husband last? Let me know something.
Because regardless if me and him together or not, my daddy and my son gonna be there. So fuck it.
Your
Son and husband. Or my son, my husband, then my daddy.
My son, my father, and my husband. Yeah.
Okay, why y'all put husband last? Let me know something.
I love my daddy and I love my son. Okay.
I birthed my son. Why would he be first? And my daddy, like that's my daddy. Come on, you my husband. Husband, son, father. I feel like if I get married, my husband is supposed to be like the head of the house. That's supposed to be, the leader or whatever. And then,
Shit. Yeah, I'm tired of that. It was so disrespectful.
Really know if this is my last time, but what I know is I'm feeling just fine. My life is like a red carpet, and I'm feeling like the richest millionaire. This is my local mayor, and I'm the biggest star around here.
What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Subscriber die trying. You see the thumbnail. More importantly, you saw the clip. Now that I'm married now, some of these clips I look at them and be like, okay, I see what the problem is. I saw what the problem is before, but you got young ladies, say on a college campus, and this is their idea of relationships. And you don't take into consideration because this keeps happening. This cycle is what people should be talking about breaking the generational curse. Basically, you have bad relationship ideas. So, um, son, dad, and then husband comes last. But think about it. So, in reality, um, if you were to get married and you put your husband last, you're probably gonna get divorced. You get what I'm saying? So, but beyond that, just in life, your dad's gonna die before you. That just in a natural process of life, right? You might not want to hear that, but that's the reality. Then, if you have a son, if you're raising him right, you're raising him to grow up to be a man and go out into the world and hold his own, which means he can't be with you. So you wind up in a situation with this ideology when you're young. You might date a person, you might get pregnant, you might have a kid, but the dad comes last. The dad of the father of the kid comes last, and it's like, okay, whatever. So this how you wind up with these situations where there is no family, because from the jump, um, this is part of the quote unquote relationship. The man comes last, But let's add a little part to this. The one thing I'm glad about this is when you had this clip, all the girls except one, the majority of the girls except one, said, child, dad, then quote unquote, then husband. And basically, you're seeing that quote unquote dads have been involved in this one, right? So the stereotype of the dad not being involved, that's out of pocket. That's out of the way. But this is the bad part about it. Dad should have told you that when you become an adult, your husband comes first. Because that's not a position your dad would want to be in. Your dad would want to be in a position where you come first, then the kid, you come first, then the wife's dad comes first, and then he comes third, but he got to be the provider and protector. He wouldn't even sign up for that deal, for the most part. So that's a problem. And sometimes they blame the fathers in this situation because it's like, why didn't you tell your daughter this? And it's like, let's just be honest. You might be in your, late teens, early 20s with this ideology. And that ideology starts to spill into your mid 20s, late 20s, maybe your early 30s. This is what sets up the backdrop for the relationship dynamic that people have now, because you don't know how long it takes for people to get out of these BS ideologies. They might have had a kid, and now it's the kid that, and they dad and they dad's family or whatever, right? And then, okay, I had a kid, and it's me, my kid, then my daddy, and now I'm dating you, and now you got to come last because you just a man, and it's like, okay, all right, not gonna happen. Now let's pivot a little bit on this. The fact that this sounds so right and people repeat it so much should tell you how prevalent the selfishness is, because this is out of order, completely out of order. So, because what you're saying is, and this is what you're seeing now, people are looking for a man now to help them pick up the pieces. And the reason why I'm making this video is because this is the genesis, this is the beginning of how they wind up in relationships when, 15, 20 years later, they're looking for a man to just help me and come pick up the pieces. And they had this video recently with Cheryl Underwood, I think on the Breakfast Club, with Jess Hilarious, and she's talking about um, the boss chick mentality. And here's the thing, and it's no diss or whatever. Cheryl Underwood she had her years of that boss chick, I'm wilding out mentality on her own. Now she's like, okay, that's a little bit much. Now I should just, I should be able to be with a man and take a man, and I need a man. It's like, yeah, but that goes after 20, 25 years of, I don't really need you like that. And what we're trying to do is shorten that time span. You shouldn't have to go through the majority of your adult life to realize, oh, I actually need the opposite sex. I actually want the opposite sex. I actually don't want to be an adversary to the opposite sex. It's like, by that time, people are just done with you because, you already put your resume out of being, let's just say, cantankerous. Let's do that. You out of pocket. So that's an issue. Now, here's where this goes completely bad. And and the young man, he ain't even going. This is why I say this. I'm sorry. You see how the young brother was like, he ain't even gonna respond. He just, okay. We've gotten to that point in society where the guys are not going to respond. Oh, I'm supposed to take a back seat? Cool. That's what I'm going to do? Cool. Sorry about that. Got a call. But once you see the guys not responding, one of the reasons why you see this, and it was weird, is, it's not weird, but what's not taken into consideration is guys are young and they're like, I'm not even going to waste the time to explain why this is messed up. And the guys are going to not go down this route. Because basically what people are doing now is, I'm just interviewing to see if the ideology exists. And if it does, I'm going to exit stage left. And I'm not even going to talk to you about to figure out why, nobody's approaching you, why, nobody's taking you serious, why when there's a singles event, men are not showing up. What these guys are doing is just like, yeah, because we're tired of, they're young and they're like, it's not a wise decision to even tell you out of pocket because you don't care no way. So I'm gonna just document it. And that's what's happening. It's just being documented. And the ladies are so oblivious because they're so deep in the ideology, it doesn't even cross their mind that, oh, we're rubbing these guys the wrong way and we're running them off. That ideology doesn't cross their mind. Because just like they'll go, well, he ain't gonna ever be here. The guy's looking at it like, yeah, she ain't. You already said I'm not really a priority in your response. So you're right, I'm not gonna be here. But here's the thing: I'm not gonna be here to be the baby daddy, and I'm not gonna be here to be the husband. So it's just gonna be you and your daddy. So how you love that, you know? And then everybody, I don't know what campus that is in Louisiana, but I know it's Louisiana. But that ideology is just a ideology that's prevalent on college campuses, and that's been like that since I was in college 20 something years ago. So this is not going to end well, and the young ladies are not really looking at the past of college girls in the past and go, why do we have all these single aunties that we call rich aunties? Because they thought like this when they was in college, and they went out into the adult world with that ideology, and they wound up single and single mothers, and nobody wanted to deal with them. And that's why they're selfish to this day, flying themselves out to get smashed in Jamaica and on cruises, and it's like, you're going to wind up this same thing if you keep this up. But I see the guys like, we're not even going to have the conversation. I'm just documenting it for scientific purposes. But tell me what you think. Like, share, subscribe. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace. You ever been at the top of the universe? I'm gonna take it.